The bridge of the command ship shook as another plasma blast struck the shields. Commander L gripped his command chair, his 6 fingers digging into the metal. Around him, his crew worked frantically at their stations. The main showed a sight that filled him with dread. 30 dreadnoughts advanced in perfect formation, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. 3 months, that was how long the Coalition had held the line at the system. 3 months of constant battle, of watching friends die, of losing ship after ship. The Coalition fleet had started with 200 vessels. Now only 60 remained operational. The rest were either destroyed or too damaged to fight. Shield strength at 40%, his tactical officer called out. We cannot take many more hits. El knew this already, every commander in the fleet knew it. The Empire had been relentless in their assault. They wanted space, wanted the rich worlds the Coalition had spent centuries building, and they were willing to burn everything to get it. All ships fall back to defensive position Gamma, El ordered. Focus fire on the lead dreadnought. The fleet responded, but their weapons barely scratched the armor. The enemy shields absorbed most of the damage. Meanwhile, plasma cannons tore through ships like they were made of paper. Another Coalition cruiser exploded on the... El closed his eyes briefly. 200 crew on that ship, 200 more lives lost. Commander, incoming communication from the Council, his communications officer said. Put it through. The face of Ambassador appeared on a side screen. The elderly diplomat looked exhausted. Behind him, El could see the Council chambers on the Coalition capital world. Commander, the Council requires your immediate input, said. We are discussing our final options. El understood what that meant, final options, surrender or evacuation. Either way, it meant the end of the Coalition. I will join by hololink, El said. Moments later, his holographic form appeared in the Council chambers. The other Council members sat in their elevated seats, representatives from all 4 Coalition species. They looked as tired as he felt. Commander El, Council leader, spoke. Your assessment of our military situation. El did not sugarcoat the truth. We cannot hold for more than another week, perhaps less. They have numerical superiority and better weapons. Every engagement costs us more than we can afford to lose. Silence filled the chamber. No one wanted to hear it, but everyone had known it was coming. Then we must consider evacuation, another Council member said. Save what civilians we can. And abandon our worlds, asked. Abandon everything we built. Better than extinction, came the reply. Ambassador raised one hand. There is another option, one we have been reluctant to consider. The humans said flatly, we have been through this, they are too new to space, too primitive, what could they possibly do? They could help, insisted. I have studied their history, their military records. Yes, they are new to the galactic community, but they have something we lack. And what is that? Experience with total war. Several Council members made sounds of dismissal. One laughed outright. Total war, they have barely left their own solar system. They have fought no major space battles. Their fleet is small. Stood his ground. Their fleet is small because they keep most of it near Earth, but do not mistake caution for weakness. I have read their history files. These beings have fought wars that consumed their entire species, wars that raged across their whole planet. They understand warfare in ways we cannot imagine. That was centuries ago, argued, ancient history. For them perhaps, but the lessons remain. I have met with their liaison officer, Captain Gregg. He serves aboard Commander L's ship. I have watched him observe our tactics. He says little, but his eyes see much. El knew the human had been assigned to the fleet 6 months ago as part of a cultural exchange. He was professional, quiet, and polite. He never offered opinions unless asked, but was right, watched everything. Even if we asked, another Council member said, what could they send? They have perhaps 50 ships total. That would not change our situation. We lose nothing by asking, pressed. They give us no quarter. Our choices are ask for help or die. I would rather try every option before accepting death. The Council debated for another hour. El listened, saying little. He was not sure what humans could do either. Their technology seemed adequate but not exceptional. Their weapons were different from Coalition designs but not obviously superior. Still, had a point. What did they have to lose? Finally called for a vote. The decision was narrow, but it passed. The Coalition would ask humanity for help. We will send a formal request to Earth, announced. We will ask for whatever reinforcements they can spare, perhaps 10 ships, perhaps 20, every vessel helps. El's hologram faded as the connection ended. He returned his full attention to his bridge. Captain stood at his usual position near the rear of the command center. The human wore his gray uniform and watched the tactical display with calm eyes. Captain L called, "The Council has decided to request assistance from Earth. They are composing the formal message now." Nodded slowly. "I see. How many ships are they requesting?" "Whatever can be spared. We understand Earth's fleet is limited. We would be grateful for any help." Something flickered in his eyes, not quite a smile, but something close. "I will transmit the request as soon as it arrives, Commander. Earth Command will respond quickly." "How long do you think it will take," L asked, "for your ships to arrive?" "That depends on how many they send," said. His voice remained neutral, professional. "But I expect you will see them within a day. Earth takes these requests seriously." The formal request arrived an hour later. El read it before sending it to. The language was diplomatic and respectful. It explained the coalition's situation, the threat, and the desperate need for assistance. It asked for whatever reinforcements humanity could spare. Even a few ships would help buy time for civilian evacuation. Took the message and walked to his communication station. El watched as the human's fingers moved over the controls. The message was encrypted with human codes and sent via their own quantum link. Earth would have it in seconds. "Message transmitted," reported. "Earth Command acknowledges receipt. Admiral Hayes sends her regards and says help is on the way." "How long?" El asked again. Checked his console. Jump signatures should appear in approximately 18 hours. I recommend you prepare your fleet to coordinate with incoming forces. 18 hours, El could hold that long, barely. He gave orders to pull the fleet back to a more defensive position, let the advance, let them think victory was close. In 18 hours, reinforcements would arrive. He tried not to think about how little difference 10 or 20 human ships would make, but even a little help was better than none. And who knew, perhaps the humans had some trick, some weapon they had not seen before. On the far side of the bridge, Captain stood quietly. His expression revealed nothing, but his eyes held something that El could not quite identify. It might have been anticipation, or perhaps it was something else entirely. The human knew something. El was certain of it, but remained silent, watching the stars, waiting for his people to arrive. The fleet advanced, confident in their superiority. The coalition fleet pulled back, buying time, and somewhere in the dark between the stars, Earth's response was already moving. None of them knew what was coming, not even the Coalition Council. Only the humans knew, and they were not telling anyone yet. The message reached Earth Command in Geneva exactly 3 seconds after Captain transmitted it. General stood in the command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing every human military asset in known space. When the priority alert sounded, every officer in the room turned to look. "Message from Captain's system," the communications officer announced. "Priority Alpha, Coalition request for military assistance." Walked to the main display. He read the message twice. The Coalition was dying. The Empire was crushing them. They needed help. They were asking for whatever ships Earth could spare. "Get me Admiral Hayes," ordered, "and activate Protocol Shepard." The room went silent for a moment, then activity exploded. Officers rushed to their stations. Secure channels opened to every human military facility in the solar system. Protocol Shepard, the contingency plan they had spent 20 years building. Admiral Hayes appeared on the main screen. She was aboard her flagship, the UNS Defiant, currently in orbit around Mars. Her gray hair was pulled back tight. Her eyes were sharp and clear. "General," she said, "I am receiving activation codes for Protocol Shepard. Confirm authorization." "Confirmed," said, "the Coalition has requested our help. We are going in." Hayes nodded, no hesitation, no doubt. Understood. How many ships? "All of them." Hayes smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting a long time for this moment. "It will be good to show the galaxy what we have been building. I will have the fleet ready in 6 hours." The Defiance bridge became a storm of activity. Commander Torres worked his tactical station, coordinating with hundreds of other ships. Fleet captains received their orders. Ship crews rushed to battle stations. In orbital shipyards around Earth, Mars, and Luna, warships that had been in standby mode powered up. The human fleet was not small, not even close. For 20 years, humanity had been building ships, lots of ships. While the galaxy thought Earth had maybe 50 vessels, the truth was very different. Humanity had learned early that space was dangerous, that other species could be hostile, and humans had decided they would never be helpless again. In high orbit above Earth, carrier groups began moving into formation. The UNS Valiant, UNS Resolute, UNS Guardian, massive ships, each carrying 100 fighter craft. Around them, cruisers and destroyers took their positions. Near Luna, the battleship group assembled. These were the heavy hitters, ships designed to take punishment and dish it out. The UNS Vengeance, UNS Retribution, UNS Justice. There could punch through any armor in the galaxy. At Mars, supply ships and medical vessels prepared to join the fleet. Captain Daniel Cross commanded the relief group. His ships carried food, medicine, and construction equipment. If the Coalition needed help rebuilding, Earth would provide it. And at the center of it all, the Defiant waited. Admiral Hayes stood on her bridge, watching the fleet assemble. She had commanded fleets before, but never one this large, never for stakes this high. "Fleet status," she ordered. "All ships reporting ready," Torres replied. "Total count, 1,200 vessels. We have 6 carrier groups, 4 battleship groups, support squadrons, and relief ships. Every ship is armed and ready." Hayes nodded. "Set course for system, maximum speed. Let's not keep them waiting." The fleet jumped one by one, then in groups. The human ships vanished from Sol's system. They traveled through, crossing light years in minutes. The galaxy had given humanity jump drive technology when they made first contact. Humans had immediately improved it. Human jump drives were faster, more efficient, and more reliable than any other species had. In the system, Commander L watched his tactical display. 16 hours had passed since sent the message. 2 more hours until the humans arrived. If they arrived, L was still not sure what to expect. The fleet had pressed their advantage. 2 more Coalition ships had been destroyed. The defensive line was crumbling, but L held position. 2 more hours. They could last 2 more hours. "Commander," his sensor officer called out, "I am detecting jump signatures, edge of the system." L sat up straight. "How many?" The officer stared at his display. 5 ships, wait, 7, no, 10. 10 ships. It was more than L had hoped for. Every ship helped. "Incoming vessels identified as human design," the officer continued. "But Commander, I am still detecting more signatures. 15 ships now, 20, 25. L stood and walked to the sensor station. That was impossible. Earth did not have 25 ships to send. They barely had 50 ships total. "Sensor malfunction?" he asked. "No, sir, all readings confirmed. 50 ships now, 70, 100. The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the sensor display. The numbers kept climbing. 120, 150, 200. "This cannot be accurate," L said, but even as he spoke, the updated, distant markers appeared at the edge of the system, hundreds of them. Captain walked up beside L. The human's expression remained neutral, but there was something in his eyes, pride perhaps, or satisfaction. "Captain," L said carefully, "how many ships does Earth have?" "That depends on what you consider Earth's territory," replied. "If you mean just Earth itself, about 300. If you include all human colonies and stations, well," he gestured at the display, "you are seeing the full strength of the Earth Defense Force." The number on the display kept rising. 500, 700, 900. "This is not possible," L whispered. "We were told humanity had a small fleet, fewer than 100 ships." Shrugged. "You were told what we wanted you to know. Humanity learned long ago that it is wise to be underestimated. We kept most of our fleet near our home system. We did not advertise our strength, but we always knew that someday someone would need our help." 1,000 ships, the sensor officer announced. His voice shook. 1,100, 1,200. The final count appeared on the display. 1,200 human warships, the largest fleet any Coalition species had ever seen, and they were all here, all for them. Lieutenant Commander Jake, the human communications officer, activated the main channel. "Command ship, this is UNS Defiant. Admiral Hayes commanding Human Expeditionary Force. We received your request for assistance, transmitting fleet disposition and tactical data now." L found his voice. "Admiral Hayes, this is Commander L. Welcome to system. We are grateful for your response." The changed, a human woman appeared. She wore a dark uniform with Admiral's insignia. Her expression was calm and professional. Behind her, the Defiant's bridge buzzed with activity. "Commander L," Hayes said, "Captain has briefed me on your situation. The Empire has been attacking Coalition space for 3 months. Your fleet is badly damaged. Your people are dying. Is this accurate?" "Yes, Admiral, we have lost many ships. We cannot hold much longer." Hayes nodded. "Then it is good we arrived when we did. My fleet is at your disposal. I have battleships, carriers, support vessels, and relief ships. We brought enough firepower to end this war and enough supplies to help rebuild. Where do you need us?" El could not speak for a moment. This was beyond anything he had imagined. Earth had not sent a token force. They had sent an armada. They had sent enough ships to change everything. The main fleet is advancing on our position, he finally managed. 30 dreadnoughts supported by escorts. They have been driving us back for weeks. Not anymore, Hayes said. Her voice was hard as steel. My fleet will position between your ships and the... You have held the line long enough, Commander. It is time someone else did the fighting. On the tactical display, the human fleet began moving into formation. They organized with precision that spoke of endless practice. Carrier groups on the flanks, battleships in the center, cruisers and destroyers screening the capital ships. It was a formation designed for one purpose: total destruction of enemy forces. The fleet detected the human arrival. El watched their formation change. They were confused, uncertain. They had been fighting a dying enemy for months. Now they faced something entirely different. Admiral Hayes, El said, they will not retreat easily. They are a proud species. They will fight. Hayes smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Good, we came a long way. It would be disappointing if they ran immediately. You do not understand. Dreadnoughts are powerful. Their shields are nearly impenetrable. Their weapons can destroy a cruiser with one shot. Commander L, Hayes said gently, I appreciate your concern, but Earth has been preparing for this for a long time. We know what we are doing. Just watch. Captain placed a hand on L's shoulder. Trust us, Commander. We did not come all this way to lose. L looked at the tactical display again. 1,200 human ships against 30 dreadnoughts. The numbers were overwhelming, but numbers did not always win battles. Technology mattered, skill mattered. Still, as he watched the human fleet position itself, El felt something he had not felt in months. Hope, real hope. Maybe, just maybe, the coalition would survive after all. All coalition ships fall back to secondary line, he ordered. Let the humans take the lead and record everything. The council will want to see this. War leader stood on the bridge of his flagship and stared at the sensor display. His 4 eyes narrowed in anger and confusion. The display showed impossible numbers, 1,000 ships, all human, all positioned between his fleet and the forces. This must be a sensor error, he growled. Humans do not have 1,000 ships. They barely have any fleet at all. His tactical officer, a younger warrior, checked the readings again. War leader, all scans confirm. 1,200 vessels, various classes, all of human construction. Slammed one massive fist on his command chair. They were the strongest military power in this sector. For 3 months they had crushed the coalition. The pathetic herbivores had barely put up a fight, and now these humans dared to interfere. What do we know of human military capability? Demanded. Very little, war leader. They are a recent species, new to space. Their technology appears adequate but not exceptional. They have never fought a major fleet engagement. Bared his teeth in what passed for a smile. Then they will learn what happens when prey tries to challenge predators. All ships, advance. We will destroy these humans quickly, then finish the... The fleet moved forward, 30 massive dreadnoughts, each 3 times larger than any human ship. Around them, escorts and support vessels maintained formation. They had built their empire through strength. They had conquered a dozen species. One more would be easy. On the defiant, Admiral Hayes watched the advance. She stood calmly, hands behind her back. Commander Torres monitored the tactical display. Fleet moving to attack formation, Torres reported. They are not attempting communication. Why would they? Hayes said. They think we are weak. They think they can brush us aside. Let them think that a little longer. Admiral, they are charging weapons. Range in 2 minutes. Hayes activated the fleet channel. All ships, maintain formation. Hold your fire. Let them come to us. Captain commanded the carrier group Falcon Wing. Her ship and 5 others held the left flank. On her flight deck, Lieutenant Sam Porter sat in his fighter cockpit, waiting for launch orders. Around him, 99 other pilots waited in their own craft. This is Falcon Wing Actual, transmitted. All fighters stand by. We launch on Admiral's orders. Remember your training. Stay in formation. Trust your wingmen. Copy that, Porter replied. His hands moved over his fighter's controls, running pre-flight checks. The craft hummed around him, eager for battle. The fleet reached maximum weapons range, gave the order without hesitation. All ships fire. Hundreds of plasma bolts erupted from the dreadnoughts, massive energy blasts that could vaporize a cruiser in one hit. They raced across space toward the human fleet. Incoming fire, Torres called out. Impact in 10 seconds. Hayes did not move. Point defense, engage. Every human ship activated their defensive systems. Small tracked the incoming plasma bolts, lasers locked on targets. In the space of 3 seconds, the human fleet fired thousands of defensive rounds. The plasma bolts began exploding before they reached their targets. One by one, the human defenses intercepted them. Out of 300 shots, only 6 reached human shields, and those shields absorbed the hits easily. On his flagship stared in disbelief. Impossible. Full barrage should have destroyed dozens of ships. Their point defense is extremely effective, War Leader, his tactical officer said quietly. More effective than any system we have encountered. Then we get closer, all ships full speed advance, engage at point-blank range. The fleet accelerated, they closed the distance, firing continuously, but the human defenses kept working. 98% of all fire was intercepted before reaching the ships. Hayes watched the fleet commit to their attack. They were fully engaged now. No retreat, no second thoughts, exactly what she wanted. Range, she asked. Optimal firing range in 30 seconds, Torres replied. All ships lock weapons, prepare to fire on my command. Across the human fleet, weapons came online, that accelerated metal slugs to incredible speeds, plasma torpedoes that burned hotter than stars, missile pods that could overwhelm any defense, and every ship had multiple systems, multiple ways to kill. Firing range achieved, Torres announced. Hayes took a breath, all ships fire. The human fleet lit up like 1,000 suns. Rounds crossed the distance in seconds. Plasma torpedoes followed, missiles launched in massive waves. The volume of fire was staggering, overwhelming. The shields held for exactly 3 seconds, then they started failing. Human punched through armor that had withstood weapons for months. Plasma torpedoes burned through hull plating. Missiles found weak points and exploited them. The lead dreadnought lost shields completely. Fire tore through its engines. Secondary explosions rippled along its length. The massive ship began to drift, powerless and dying. Impossible, whispered, our shields, our armor, how? 2 more dreadnoughts took critical damage. One exploded as its reactor breached. The other broke in half, atmosphere venting into space. All carriers launch fighters, Hayes ordered. Across 6 human carriers, launch bays opened. Fighters poured out like angry insects. Sam Porter felt his stomach drop as his craft catapulted into space. Around him, the rest of his squadron formed up. Falcon Wing fighters, this is Defiant Actual, Hayes transmitted. Your targets are the escort ships. Clear a path for the battleships. Copy that, Admiral, Porter replied. All wings follow my lead. 300 human fighters swept toward the fleet. They moved in coordinated squadrons, covering each other, attacking in waves. The escorts tried to respond, but human fighters were faster and more maneuverable. Porter locked onto a destroyer. His targeting computer showed green. He fired. His fighters' plasma cannons raked the destroyer's hull. Behind him, 3 more fighters from his squadron added their fire. The ship's shields collapsed, armor melted, the destroyer went dark. Splash 1, Porter called, moving to next target. All across the battlefield, human fighters dominated. They destroyed escorts with brutal efficiency, and with the escorts gone, the dreadnought stood exposed. Captain Gregg watched from the command ship. Commander L stood beside him, watching the same tactical display. The battle had been going for less than 10 minutes. Already, they had lost 8 dreadnoughts and 20 escort vessels. How, L asked, how are your ships so effective? Chose his words carefully. Humans have been at war with each other for most of our history. We learned to build weapons that actually work. We learned to fight smart, not just hard. And we learned that superior numbers mean nothing if you use them correctly. Another dreadnought exploded, then another. The human fleet pressed their advantage. They focused fire, destroying targets one at a time. They used their fighters to create chaos. They coordinated perfectly. Realized the truth too late. The humans were not prey. They were not weak. They were apex predators, and they had just walked into their killing ground. All ships retreat, he ordered, full withdrawal. But Hayes had anticipated this. All ships pursue, do not let them escape. Human ships accelerated. They were faster than vessels. Within minutes, they caught the fleeing dreadnoughts. More fire, more plasma torpedoes, more death. His flagship took a direct hit from 3 battleships simultaneously. His shields failed. His armor cracked. He felt his ship shudder as human weapons tore it apart. War leader, we must abandon ship, his tactical officer said. Wanted to refuse, wanted to die fighting, but that would not serve the Empire. He needed to survive. needed to warn others about these humans. Sound evacuation, he ordered. Escape pods launched from the dying flagship. Human ships could have destroyed them all, but they did not. Hayes gave orders to let the pods go, let the survivors escape, let them tell others what happened here. The battle lasted 18 minutes from first shot to last. When it ended, all 30 dreadnoughts were destroyed or disabled. Most of their escorts were gone. The survivors fled at maximum speed, abandoning the system entirely. The human fleet held position. They had suffered minimal damage. 2 cruisers with shield damage, 1 destroyer with minor hull breaches. No ships lost, no crews dead. On the command ship, L could not speak. He had watched the most powerful fleet in the sector get destroyed in less than 20 minutes. He had watched humans fight with a precision and ferocity that shocked him to his core. "Captain," he finally said, "your species, you are not explorers, not scientists, you are warriors." Shook his head. "We are both, Commander. We explore, we learn, we build, but when threatened, when innocents need protection, yes, we can fight, and we are very, very good at it." Admiral Hayes opened a channel to all ships, both human and, "The fleet has been destroyed, system is secure. Coalition forces, well done holding the line. You bought us the time we needed to arrive. Now, let us help you rebuild what was lost." Across the Coalition fleet, cheers erupted. Ships that had been fighting a losing battle for 3 months suddenly saw hope. The humans had come, and they had won. But this was just the beginning. The Empire was vast. One fleet destroyed would not end the war. It would only make them angrier, more dangerous. Hayes knew this, her officers knew this, but they did not care. Earth had committed. They would see this through to the end, whatever that required. The galaxy had just learned a new truth. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not prey. And anyone who threatened the innocent would face the full might of the human armada. 3 weeks after the battle of the human fleet spread across Coalition space, Admiral Hayes had divided her forces into task groups. Each group secured a different system. Each group sent a clear message to the Empire. The Coalition was under human protection now. On the throne world, Emperor sat in his war chamber. Around him stood his military advisors. They all looked uncomfortable. No one wanted to deliver bad news to the Emperor. "Report," demanded. His voice was cold. General, the highest-ranking military officer, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we have lost contact with 12 additional fleets. All were destroyed or forced to retreat by human forces. Our advance into Coalition space has completely stopped." "Impossible," hissed. "We are the Empire. We have conquered species for centuries. How can these humans stop us?" "They are stronger than we believed, Your Majesty. Their technology is superior. Their tactics are better, and they have far more ships than we anticipated." Stood and walked to a large display showing the galactic map. Red markers showed territory, blue showed Coalition space, and now green markers indicated human fleet positions. There were green markers everywhere in Coalition space. "We cannot defeat them," he asked. Hesitated. "Not in direct battle, Your Majesty. They are too strong, but there are other ways." "Explain." "The humans protect Coalition civilians. They care about innocent lives. If we threaten those lives, we force them to negotiate." Turned. "You propose we target civilians directly?" "Yes, Your Majesty. We have long-range missiles equipped with biological weapons. We launch them at Coalition colony worlds. The humans must either accept our terms or watch billions die." It was a desperate plan, a cruel plan, but was running out of options. The Empire had never lost a war before. He would not be the first emperor to accept defeat. "Prepare the weapons," he ordered. "Target their 3 largest colonies. We launch in 6 hours." What did not know was that humans had been monitoring all communications. Deep in space, human listening posts tracked every transmission. Advanced computers decoded every encrypted message. And when the order went out to prepare biological weapons, alarms sounded in human command centers across the galaxy. On the Defiant, Commander Torres rushed to Admiral Hayes. "Admiral, we have intercepted communications. They are planning to launch biological weapons at Coalition colonies." Hayes' expression went from calm to cold fury in an instant. "When?" 5 hours from now, they are targeting 3 worlds, combined population of 8 billion civilians." Hayes did not hesitate. "Get me a secure channel to Emperor, and prepare full tactical data on every military installation, every shipyard, every base, everything." 10 minutes later, the channel opened. Emperor appeared on the. He looked surprised to receive a call from the humans. "Admiral Hayes," he said carefully, "to what do I owe this contact?" "Emperor, I am going to speak plainly. We have intercepted your orders to launch biological weapons at coalition colonies. If you proceed with this plan, the war will end today, but not in a way you will enjoy. Tried to look unconcerned. I do not know what you mean. Hayes gestured to Tors. The display changed. Images appeared showing every major military facility. Shipyards, command centers, weapons factories, troop barracks. Each image was marked with precise coordinates. These are your military installations, Hayes said. All 47 of them. My fleet has eyes on every single one. We have weapons locked. We have been watching you since the day we arrived in this sector. Felt cold fear grip his hearts. This is impossible. Our security is perfect. Your security is adequate against most species, Hayes replied. But humans invented electronic warfare. We invented cyber infiltration. We can see everything you do. We can read every message you send, and we know about the biological weapons. She leaned forward. Her eyes were hard as diamonds. Here is what will happen, Emperor. You will immediately stand down those weapons. You will order all fleets to withdraw from coalition space. You will agree to peace negotiations, and you will pay reparations for the damage you have caused. And if I refuse, asked, then in exactly 1 hour my fleet will destroy every military installation you have. Your shipyards will burn, your bases will be rubble, your fleet will be scrap metal. We will cripple your empire completely, and unlike you, we will do it without killing a single civilian. Stared at her. You would not dare. Hayes smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Emperor, I have 1,200 warships. You have seen what just 300 can do. Do not test me. Accept peace or accept destruction. You have 1 hour to decide. The channel closed, stood in his war chamber, surrounded by his advisors. They all waited for his decision. Can we win if they attack? He asked. General shook his head. No, Your Majesty, we cannot. They will do exactly what they promised, and we have no defense against it. Had ruled the empire for 20 years. He had led them to victory after victory, but he was not a fool. He could see when a fight was lost. Send word to all fleets. Cease all operations against the coalition, except the human peace terms. Meanwhile, on a coalition colony world called Prime, Captain Daniel Cross commanded a very different kind of fleet. His ships were not warships. They were hospital ships, supply vessels, and construction platforms. Prime had been bombed by the 2 months ago. Half the capital city was destroyed. Thousands were dead. Tens of thousands were injured or homeless. Cross stood on the planet's surface, watching his crews work. Human medical teams treated the wounded. Human engineers repaired damaged buildings. Human supply ships delivered food, water, and medicine. Dr. Lisa worked in a makeshift hospital. She had been treating patients for 12 hours straight. A young child lay on the table in front of her. The child had been trapped in rubble for days. Her leg was badly damaged. We need to stabilize the fractures, told her team. Then we can move her to the ship for surgery. A doctor worked beside her. His name was Kelvin. He had been trained in medicine, which was good but not as advanced as human medical technology. Your techniques are remarkable, Kelvin said as he watched work. We would have amputated, but you believe you can save the leg. We can save it, confirmed. Humans have extensive experience with trauma medicine. We have had to rebuild people after terrible injuries for centuries. This is what we do. The surgery took 3 hours. When it was done, the child would keep her leg. She would walk again. She would run and play like any child should. Counselor visited the relief effort the next day. She was the head of Prime's government. She had been skeptical of humans at first, but watching them work changed her mind. She found Captain Cross overseeing the construction of new housing. Human machines worked alongside workers. The humans were teaching the how to use more efficient building techniques. Captain Cross said, "May I speak with you?" "Of course, Counselor. How can I help?" "I want to understand. Your fleet destroyed in battle. You could have left after securing our space, but instead you stayed. You are helping us rebuild. Why?" Cross looked at the work going on around them. Human and crews working side by side, families moving into new homes, children playing in streets that had been rubble a week ago. "Because winning the battle is not enough," he said. "We did not come here to defeat them. We came here to help you. That means making sure you survive and thrive after the war ends." "But why send so many ships? Why commit so much?" Cross smiled. "Counselor, let me tell you something about humans. When someone asks us for help, we do not send the minimum. We do not calculate what is enough to barely succeed. We send overwhelming force because we want to guarantee success. You ask for reinforcement. We could have sent 20 ships. Maybe that would have been enough, maybe not. So we sent 1,200 ships because we wanted to make absolutely certain you would be safe. Felt tears in her eyes. Your people are remarkable. We are just doing what anyone should do. You needed help. We had the ability to help. The choice was easy. Later that day, Ambassador Foster arrived on Prime. She was humanity's chief diplomat in this sector. She carried with her the formal peace treaty between the Coalition, the Empire, and Earth. The treaty was fair but firm. They would withdraw completely. They would pay reparations. They would allow human observers to verify compliance. And most importantly, they would leave the Coalition alone, forever. The Emperor has signed, Foster told Counselor. The war is over. Read the treaty. It was everything the Coalition had hoped for and more. How did you convince him to agree to such terms? We showed him what would happen if he refused. Sometimes, the best way to achieve peace is to make war too costly to consider. That night stood on a balcony overlooking her city. Lights were coming back on, buildings were being repaired, life was returning to normal, and in orbit above, human ships stood guard, protecting, watching, ready to defend if needed. She thought about the past 3 weeks, how close the Coalition had come to extinction, how the humans had arrived with impossible numbers, how they had fought with terrifying efficiency, and how they had immediately turned to helping rebuild what was destroyed. Humans were warriors, but they were also healers, builders, protectors. They had the power to destroy empires, but they chose to use that power to defend the innocent. Understood now why the humans had sent 1,200 ships. They did not do anything by half measures. When they committed to something, they committed completely, with everything they had. And the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. 6 months had passed since the Battle of the Galactic Council chamber on the neutral world of Centrum was filled with representatives from dozens of species. They had gathered to discuss one topic, humanity. Senator Helen Martinez sat in the human delegation section. She wore a simple gray suit. Beside her sat Admiral Charles, who now commanded the permanent human peacekeeping force. They both knew this meeting would be difficult. The council leader, a tall crystalline being named Sorrel, called the session to order. We gather to address the presence of human military forces throughout Coalition space and beyond. Many species have expressed concern. A delegate from the Republic stood. They were a powerful trading species with significant political influence. The humans maintain a fleet of over 1,000 warships. This represents a military force larger than any other single species. We believe this concentration of power is dangerous. Murmurs of agreement came from several delegations. Another delegate stood. The humans demonstrated their combat capability they destroyed a fleet in minutes. What is to stop them from using that power against others, against us? Martinez watched the debate unfold. She had expected this. Fear was natural. Humanity had revealed strength that shocked the galaxy. Some species were grateful, others were nervous, a few were hostile. Ambassador rose from the Coalition delegation. The elderly diplomat looked healthier than he had 6 months ago. His people were recovering, rebuilding, living without fear for the first time in months. I would like to speak, said. His voice was strong and clear. The council recognizes Ambassador, Sorrel replied. 6 months ago, my people were dying. The Empire was crushing us. We had weeks left at most. We asked the galaxy for help. Many of you expressed sympathy. Some sent messages of support, but no one sent ships. No one offered military aid. We were dying and the galaxy watched. He paused, looking around the chamber. Then we asked the humans, a species we barely knew, a species many of you dismissed as primitive. We asked for whatever ships they could spare. We hoped for 10, maybe 20, and they sent 1,200. Walk to the center of the chamber. The humans did not ask for payment. They did not demand territory or resources. They came because we needed help. They fought because innocents were dying, and after they won, they stayed to help us rebuild. Their doctors treated our wounded. Their engineers repaired our cities. Their supplies fed our people. He turned to face the delegate. You ask what stops humans from using their power against us. I will tell you, their values stop them. Their culture stops them. They have the power to conquer, but they choose to protect. They could demand tribute, but they ask only for friendship. Another delegate stood. This one was from the Collective, a scientific and philosophical society. Ambassador speaks from emotion, from gratitude, but we must consider facts. Humans have military power beyond any species. History shows that power corrupts, power leads to empire. Senator Martinez decided it was time to speak. She stood and the chamber fell quiet. All eyes turned to the human delegation. Council leader, may I address the assembly? She asked. The council recognizes Senator Martinez of Earth. Martinez walked to the center platform. She looked at each delegation in turn. You are right to be concerned. You are right to question. Power without accountability is dangerous. We do not dispute this. She activated a holographic display. It showed human fleet positions across known space. We have 1,200 warships. We have the ability to destroy any military force in the galaxy. These are facts. The display changed to show Earth itself. Cities, farmland, oceans, billions of people living their lives. But we are also a species that knows what war costs. We have fought wars that nearly destroyed our entire planet. We have seen what happens when power is misused. We learned those lessons in blood and fire. Martinez looked at the delegate. You say power corrupts, perhaps, but we believe power also brings responsibility. We have the power to bully, to conquer, to take what we want, but we choose not to, because that is not who we are. She changed the display again. Images appeared showing human relief efforts, doctors treating alien patients, engineers building schools, supply ships delivering food. We did not build the largest fleet in the galaxy to conquer. We built it to protect, to defend those who cannot defend themselves. Pretty words, the delegate said, but how do we know you will keep them? You do not, Martinez said bluntly. You have to trust us. Just like the coalition trusted us when they called for help. Trust must be earned, so let me tell you what we propose. The display changed to show a new document, the Terran Protectorate, a formal agreement between Earth and any species that wishes to join. We will defend peaceful species from aggression. We will share technology and knowledge. We will help build defenses and train military forces. And in exchange, we ask only for cooperation and friendship. You ask for nothing else, the delegate asked skeptically. Nothing else, Martinez confirmed. No tribute, no territory, no control over your governments or your lives. You remain independent. We simply promise to help if you are threatened. Sorrel, the council leader, spoke carefully. This is unprecedented, a military alliance with no strings attached. We prefer to think of it as a promise, Martinez said. We promise that when you call, we will come, just like we came for the... The chamber erupted in discussion. Delegates argued back and forth. Some supported the proposal, others remained skeptical. The debate lasted for hours. Finally, Sorrel called for order. We will vote on accepting the Terran Protectorate as a recognized galactic institution. Those in favor. The vote was close, but it passed. 53 species voted yes, 32 voted no, the rest abstained. It was enough. The motion carries, Sorrel announced. The Terran Protectorate is officially recognized. That evening, Admiral stood on the observation deck of his flagship. The UNS Liberty was smaller than the Defiant, but it was his now, his responsibility. Commander L joined him. The officer had transferred to the Liberty 3 months ago. He now served as liaison between coalition and human forces. The vote was closer than I expected, L said. Fear is powerful, replied. They saw what we could do. Some species will always be afraid of power, no matter how we use it. But many voted yes, many chose to trust you. Nodded, that is what matters. We prove ourselves one action at a time, one species at a time. Below them, on the hangar deck, joint training exercises were taking place. Human and pilots practiced together. Human engineers taught coalition mechanics about shield systems. Human doctors shared medical techniques with alien colleagues. A young pilot named sat in a human fighter cockpit. Lieutenant Sam Porter stood beside him, explaining the controls. The targeting system links directly to your helmet display, Porter said. You look at a target, the computer locks on, simple and fast. Tested the system, it responded instantly. This is remarkable. Our fighters require manual targeting. We can upgrade your ships with the same system, Porter offered. Part of the Protectorate deal, we share technology. Why, asked, why give us your advantages? Porter smiled, because if we have to fight beside you someday, I want you to have the best equipment possible. Your survival matters to us. Thought about that. 6 months ago, humans had been strangers, unknown. Now they were friends, allies, teachers. You really did come just to help us. Yes, Porter said simply, we really did. Far away in the communications center, a new message arrived. It was marked priority, from a species called the Borean Federation. They were under attack from raiders. They needed help. They were asking for reinforcements. The message was forwarded to Admiral. He read it quickly, then turned to L. The Boreans are asking for help. They are not part of the coalition, but they are peaceful, Raiders are attacking their trade routes. What will you do? El asked. Smiled, what do you think? We will go help them. That is what we do. He opened a fleet-wide channel. All ships prepare for departure. We have received a call for help. Plot course for Borean space. Maximum speed. Across the fleet, ships powered up. Engines came online. Weapons were checked. Medical bays prepared for possible casualties. And every crew member knew why they were going. Someone needed help. That was reason enough. El watched the preparations and thought about how much had changed. 6 months ago, his people were dying. Now they were safe, rebuilding, growing stronger with human help. And it was all because the coalition had asked for reinforcements. They had asked for a few ships, they had received an armada, but more than that, they had received friends, allies who would stand with them, who would fight for them, who would help them build a better future. Commander L said, plot the fastest course to Borean space. Let us show the galaxy that when someone calls for help, humanity answers. The Liberty's engines flared bright. Around it, dozens of other ships did the same. Human ships, coalition ships, working together, protecting together. And across the galaxy, other species watched, some with fear, some with hope, but all of them understood now. Humanity was not going anywhere. They were here, they were strong, and they were ready to defend those who could not defend themselves. The age of human protection had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.